All right, well, it is now my very great honor to announce David Sokol as the winner of this year's Lifetime Achievement Award. He receives a sculpture by the late Richard Mines, who also donated the Atlas sculpture. This award is a testament to David Sokol's success in the face of true adversity. Born to a family of modest means, by the age of 11, he was already helping to support them financially. Today, David is the CEO of the Atlas Corporation, a private company in energy and logistics that has assets totaling $12 billion. He's founded no less than 3 companies and led another 3, one of which he sold to Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. For over a decade, David Sokol served as a top executive at Berkshire, overseeing groundbreaking investments such as the acquisition of Iskar here in Israel. His book, America in Perspective, advocates for strengthening America's role as a force for good in the world at a time when that position is under attack. And joining us tonight from the United States, the winner of this year's Lifetime Achievement Award, please welcome David Sokol.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you. I appreciate you at the Ayn Rand Center, Richard and Mary Minns, and everyone involved for this very generous recognition.
Congratulations, David. Thank you very much for sparing the time to join us. And a few questions, if you will. First of all, how has Ayn Rand's writing and philosophy influenced your professional journey and also your personal development?
Well, I first read Atlas Shrugged when I was in high school. My father, who was a farmer, gave me a copy of the book. And it opened up a kind of a philosophical debate inside of me about, entrepreneurism and creating value for society. And then the other side of the equation, those in society who tend to want to take more from society than they put in. And that really was a earth-shattering, if you will, experience for me. I try to read Atlas Shrugged every other year in January to set off the year. And but really her objective is philosophy. But even more important than that, Ayn Rand, having read all of her writings, I believe, at this point, her underlying principle is you have to believe in something in life philosophically for you to make a real difference. And that really has kind of underpinned everything I've done in my career.
Could you share with us some milestones, turning points perhaps in your career that you attribute to your astonishing success?
Well, they're actually kind of simple things. I came from a rural background, and so hard work was kind of fundamental to my work ethic. But then secondly, in a meeting early out of college, I graduated as an engineer. I was sitting listening to a bunch of people talk about solving a particular problem. And it seemed obvious to me, at least what one potential answer was. But at the time, I was unwilling to say anything because it was the first time I'd ever been in a meeting like this. And I felt they obviously knew a lot more than I did. And then after the meeting began to come to a conclusion and with no solution, I raised my hand and said, well, can I just throw out a thought? And the room kind of went silent at the end of it. It was actually a pretty simple thought. But what I realized when everybody said, wow, that could work, I realized that many of them were looking past the problem. They had so much experience that they didn't break things down and think about how to solve the problem. So learning to ask the question why is probably been the most important turning point in my career. And then all of the people in life that come to your assistance from time to time as you're trying different things. But having an inquisitive nature and a strong work ethic are probably the 2 things that God gave me that have mattered the most.
Moving on to what's happening here, Israel is facing an existential battle against fundamentalist forces opposed to freedom, individual rights, and prosperity, everything we hold dear. How do you believe the United States should act now in relation to Israel?
Well, first, let me apologize, frankly, for America's actions recently with withholding weapons and things of that nature. I believe the American people are very strongly. Terrorism is terrorism. And any of us in business learned early on, you can't negotiate a contract with terrorists or people of bad faith. It's a waste of time. And what you have to do, unfortunately, people that are of evil nature, you've got to deal with them on that basis. And I think America's trying too much to play politics with Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and we're seeing the unfortunate results of it. They're only emboldened. And so I think America needs to step up its support for Israel. I'm highly confident the American people support that in great numbers. And as one American, I apologize for our lack of quality support in recent times.
And David, on that note, there has been, hasn't there, an alarming display of not only anti-Israel, but really anti-American and anti-Western sentiment that we've just seen exploding on American university campuses, these centers, prestigious centers of learning. Would you say that Ayn Rand predicted this in her writings?
Absolutely. If you look at the last third of Atlas Shrugged, we're living it today in America. Government has stopped having fundamental principles. If you really step back and think about what has made America and Israel great, it's a meritocracy based on capitalism and freedom. To allow people to achieve their greatest and highest potential. And historically, it's unleashed untold human potential and led Israel and the U.S. to unbelievable societal and economic benefits. Unfortunately, a successful country, a successful society has to be very successful to stick to its philosophic principles. And our government over the last 20 years has begun to slip very badly towards a socialistic environment, thinking that somehow our founding, which was based on equality of opportunity, should somehow be transitioned into equality of outcome. And anyone that has looked at history over time and human nature, and particularly read Ayn Rand's writings, philosophically, people are different. And socialism can only work if we're all the same, and we're not. And thank God for that. So it's unfortunately what's going on our campuses is hard to see and hard to watch, but it's really a function that we've lost control of our university system in a lot of ways, and the fact that we've lost the goodwill that our government should have towards the basic philosophies that founded America. So it's a difficult time. Hopefully, voters will recognize what's happening. Because, as someone once said, for evil to prosper, all it requires is for good men to do nothing. And unfortunately, people have to speak up.
Finally, David, as someone who has been honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, what advice would you give to young professionals who are trying to really make a meaningful impact on the world today?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say stay the course, what you're doing and the things the awardees that are being recognized today. It's a tremendous honor to be on that list for you all, but it's also so important to our future as a society. So stay the course, pay attention to details. It seems as my career's gone on, some young people tend to think that the details don't matter as much as they used to. I would disagree. And then I think lastly, pay attention to Ayn Rand's philosophical underpinnings. It's necessary for society to maintain those things. The freedom-based entrepreneurial meritocracy that we have, both in Israel and the U.S., and in many Western countries today, is being eroded by a lack of philosophical underpinning to maintain the very fiber of what got us here. So I wish you the best. Congratulations on your awards and for your great start in an early career.
Well, David, you're very welcome to watch the rest of the awards ceremony with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, and we hope to see you here in Israel one day soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.